most startup advice assumes you will raise a first round, you know? That's the common attitude towards this thing. You have done something differently. You started this entire company without having anything. So, Jussi Galla, the co-founder of Topaasia, could you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, from what perspective? What would you like me to kind of like a general introduction?
Yes, so if you could generally introduce yourself because you're a co-founder of Topaasia, the serious card game, and I would be curious, you know, to hear a little bit more about yourself.
Yes, thank you for the question. My name is Jussi Galla, and I live in Finland. I live in northeast Finland, in the small town called Kajaani. I have 2 kids, and I think it's good to raise the kids over there. And I've been working for with Topaasia now for 11 years, I think, and kind of, and maybe it's good to like from the background. I was born in a small village in the northern Finland, and so on, and lived in the capital for a while, and then when the kids came, moved to north.
Okay, so this masterclass that's coming soon is about building without big money capital, especially at the early stage.
Yes.
So could you tell me more? Could you give me actually a number? And how much money did you have in the very beginning when you were founding Topaasia?
Yeah, maybe it's good a little bit from the background. I studied in Jyväskylä, Finland, in the central Finland, in this place called Team Academy, which was about team entrepreneurship. Kind of that, I don't have an entrepreneurial background, and my parents are not entrepreneurial or so on. But that place where I studied, it was about team learning and team entrepreneurship, which meant that we were split in the teams of 20 people. And this was before we founded with Ville Topaasia. And the point was that we founded companies, cooperatives, and then we just started doing something to learn these kind of different kind of skill sets. The school was about like build on these ideas of learning organization by Peter Senge, I think. So there was no classes or no exams or these kind of things. It was more about focusing on you have 2 times a week 4-hour dialogue training, dialogue sessions with your team. And that was kind of the place where you thought about what could we do and this kind of trying to build different kind of business ideas.
Could you tell me, because that seems rather unconventional, so this Jyväskylä school at Team Academia is actually more like normal classes and also paired like with practical lessons? That's how you came...
Yes. That's really uncommon, at least at that point was, and I think it still is, because it really puts all the responsibility to the students or the team entrepreneurs, and what it actually learns, it gives you the learning experiences about failures. You fail because you don't know anything, but you still need to do and try to establish something, and these collaborative skills and these kind of skills that you need to contact the clients and do co-creation. These kind of really thinking about the one question would be without experience founding a company, so on and so on. But that school helped me to learn how to do things that you don't know, like learning on the go. The idea in that was that you throw the students to the cold water,
basically, and you see what sinks and what swims.
Yes, and it is now that I see it backwards, it's quite brutal. But during that, I thought, because it was so unconventional, also I got amazingly energized, because I've been raised in a more authoritarian manner in the rural areas.
Of Finland,
yes. So I got really much energy from that you can actually. Of course, it's delusional in a sense, but that you can basically get the energy and the courage to do things.
So you were taught you can do anything and you can do everything.
Yes, which is actually never true, but that is the good self-deception to have. So that was kind of that helped me. And after we finished that was then I thought that because I had that, like, it's possible and things like that. Then I thought that I just want to found a company, because if I don't start to be an entrepreneur now, then I will not do it because life happens. And then me and my our co-founder Ville, we just thought that, okay, let's try to do something. And I saw a TV program about some game stuff, and I don't like games. But then I thought that because I had this kind of dialogical concepts that I got from the Team Academy, and this kind of one kind of format or concept of dialogue, and then I just wanted to get that forward because I saw it is kind of empowering for people, and then combining it with games, and that's kind of the starting point.
The starting point.
Yeah,
the starting
the idea.
But I have a question, if I can push at you to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah,
because
please.
they actually let you like sink and swim. So you needed to make a decision. Maybe it was a hasty decision. Maybe you were afraid to do that in the very first moment. But what did you actually have for the starting capital?
When founding Topaasia?
When first finding Topaasia?
Well, I did not have savings. I had student loans, of course. So I didn't not have the starting capital.
Absolutely not. So maybe
yes,
under 2,000 euros.
Yes.
That's insanely low because like nowadays venture capital is like about millions,
Yeah, that's
and you managed to get the first thing rolling under 2,000 euros.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So what actually first came first, So the Topaasia was first a physical card game, right?
No, it was actually first. It was as a board game. It was this kind of
okay.
Because you could do. I'm not a software developer. I basically cannot do things.
So you work with your hands.
Yeah, I work with hands, and I make these prototypes with Ville. We did these papers and do kind of prototypes to the walls. To start to design the kind of the board game. And the idea was that we kind of, because you were in the idea that everything is possible, there was I needed to have a exciting vision. Like it would be like, okay, there's the idea, but then there needed to be an exciting vision because I had learned, of course, now I understand it's really problematic and silly and naive also, but to have this kind of vision that, okay, how would world's largest consultant company without consultants work? That was kind of like a quest.
So dream big.
Yes, and in the form of quest. Mm-hmm. So because then it kind of, for the quest you can get people along.
Actually, they were excited, to join.
Yeah.
So the first cost of the card game was just pen and paper costs and maybe the ideas. So
first was pen and paper cost and the idea, and then we demoed it in my friend's company, and then made a second version and printed it, and then started selling that to management teams. It was this kind of 4-hour game for top management teams for their offsites. And then, of course, because in Finland, I think we have quite low hierarchies as a country. I learned in Team Academy also you need to contact the clients. So I started calling as top as I can.
Yes, you reached as high as you can.
Yes.
I'm going to come about to this when you are actually discussing how were the first digital sales going on and how did you manage to reach out to those big companies. But could you tell me first actually, because you did first the Topaasia, the card game, the board game actually, and then you decided to go digital. So how did you actually manage to switch, from the card and working with your hands to the digital world? Did you work with someone? What was the...
It was, but that then, like when the board game was, we knew that this doesn't scale because it's facilitation, but it was kind of testing that how this game work in serious topics. And then, but that doesn't scale, so then they came to, okay, everyone plays cards, so if we can create a card game that is easy to use, so it could be not dependent on us to facilitate anything. And then that took many years, I think 3 years to develop different versions of that card
game. So you were just testing for 3 years?
Yeah. But of course always selling. The best test is to sell it.
Okay,
and
so
get
the
the
constant
feedback.
improvement actually loop, the feedback loop, so you were getting
Yeah.
like additional information from the clients and then you were introducing it into the game, right? That's how it works.
But at the same time, also, kind of, it's kind of I think you need to think like you're researching it. You see what kind of maybe not even listen to advice, but see if someone pays, see how it works, and then do your own kind of conclusions on that and adjustment.
So you were first seeing how it actually works, and only after it has become like a little bit grounded in reality and everything was going smoothly, then you made this decision to go digital, right?
Oh yeah, but it was many years and probably 100 different versions, and uh, and I wanted to see what is kind of because I don't like games. I didn't know what serious games are or design games, so it was more like a design process also in that sense. Uh, but yeah, we at that time, because we don't have venture capital funding, but we ended up having angel investors, which is okay. I'll get back to that.
We will get
So
to that because this is an interesting story, because I understand that those angel investors in your case are a little bit specific. They are doing like more coaching and consulting even, not only the thing. So you're going really a specific route, not like just quick exit and the thing.
Yeah, and I was really I understand I don't think that the route that we and I made is not the best one. I think there are much better routes also, but everyone has their own grounds and situations to go. But this was kind of my way to or our way
your
to
way
go.
to do it. So it just turned out naturally.
Yeah, and I didn't also I was not fond of this pitching the culture that you need to pitch something 5 seconds. If you don't even understand yourself what you are doing and you don't know what the category is you are doing, how do you pitch it to someone who is not the client and willing to pay for it? I think it's the one who deserves a pitch is the potential client who is willing to pay for it. I don't want to be rude in that sense, but that's just my way. I understand the pitching and people do really well in that, but that has been kind of my thinking.
It also has been a different time, to tell the truth. It has been almost 11 years, since you founded Topaasia, and I mean, the world has changed quite a lot since then. The venture capital firms became like much bigger.
Yeah.
So,
but it was during that.
It was
there
already
was
there?
Yeah, it was already there. But it was because maybe I had a little bit different background, so I wasn't grown to that culture.
I understand. So because you were from the ruler authoritarian family, you
and the
needed
team
to have
academy.
I need to have the really good working product. I don't want to pitch something that is not really. I think that might be coming from that.
Yeah.
So you were testing it with a small group first, right? So probably friends, family, maybe someone. No, not
clients.
Even clients, but close to you. Like
of course, you need to kind of get that. But first, we lived in Jyväskylä. Then we actually tried to find really kind of posh clients, like standout clients and their CEOs, and to just cold call them, and then go through it like explode all the excitement in the call, just to get kind of interested. Like we had really good first clients. We had there's a big business seminar in the Nordic Business Forum. They was our first clients. And then
I'm going to come back immediately back to that, because selling without credibility is an absolutely interesting topic. But could you tell me first, what was the most actually difficult feedback you ever got when you were talking with the first client? So in the very beginning, did someone say you need to change a lot, or was it more like small iterative changes all the way?
I think it's small iterative change, because you cannot give too much. At least for me, because I'm fond to be shamed and this kind of thing. So I really cannot give too much to the negative feedback. Otherwise, you.
So you were not the one giving negative feedback, or the people were not?
No. If I got, of course, you get negative feedback, of course. But it's difficult not to get it under your skin. But that is, I think, the important part.
Okay, so you try to distance yourself from this negative feedback and think to yourself, how can I make my stuff better? People talk to me because they want actually this to change. If they weren't excited by this, they wouldn't give me this feedback, right?
Yeah, that's also. But also you rely a lot of the people's goodwill, and goodwill comes from that you are genuine and excited, naive, and all of this. So you're also a lot dependent on I have been a lot dependent on people's goodwill. But at the same time, those kind of meetings and contacts that we had then are now turning out to be our kind of clients and
yes.
Actually one of he was then the CEO of this software company that was in this great place to work kind of really. It was this kind of people gave prizes to this great place to work things, and then
could you explain what do you mean by this?
It was some kind of a competition, like who are the best workplaces, and many software companies were there, and actually one of our clients was there, the CEO from that, and now after 11 years, now he will be one of our new angel investor actually now.
Amazing.
So it's a long
process actually.
Yes.
11 years. So the person who probably invested in you in the very beginning is coming back after 8 years of co-working together, and then they know they can trust you. Yeah. So please tell me, because now you have built this sort of credibility and people maybe recognize you as a really serious game, that can really give something to their team. You can show here is the CEO of this important company that has co-worked with us. But how was in the beginning? You just took the phone and called people, or what was that? Was the strategy?
Yeah, and it's terrifying. But I learned that in the
it must be terrifying. Yes, so just taking a phone and calling the CEO.
And maybe it's a cultural thing. But in Finland, because you actually can get the numbers, so
you just get the number. Because I've seen that you are like posted with your phone number very at the top of the page, right? I could call you.
Yeah. And in Finland, it was. I think I made the first list that I found biggest companies. I think there was the Microsoft Finland CEO was kind of in the top, and I called and he answered. Of course, they don't answer, but they answered and said, "No, I'm not. But hey, good luck with starting a business."
So you called the CEO of Microsoft Finland, and then somebody picked up and then said, "Well, maybe not now, but in the future."
Or kind of like that.
Or maybe
like I think it's good to rely on the excitement and that you are. Kind of that has helped me, like the excitement and the being on this kind of starting something up, because people, in my opinion, I don't think it's in Finland at least, it seems that they give value for that you are really actually trying something even though you don't have credibility.
That's amazing. That's crazy because I heard that Finland has this low power to distance ratio. So this is like really something interesting because you can actually talk to the CEO and feel like you're a normal being, normal person, and you're not so distant away. So what do you think about this? Is this like the way that actually allowed you to do this lowering of this distance between like?
I don't know.
Would that work without it?
I don't know. It's difficult to say because we are living in so different kind of cultures. But for me, I was lucky enough that it worked. But we are living in so different kind of cultures. So, but I think it's also being like, what's the word? Like you are full of yourself, like being so, and I was so full of myself.
But in a good sense.
In a good sense, because otherwise they would have been highly more critical. But I think in a good sense, but. That kind of helped me because now that I think of it, if I hadn't done it that way, I don't think things would have gone forward. Because you don't kind of cross the limits of hierarchies and social groups.
Yes, 0 to 1 and like expanding from 1 to 100 is much easier than the first step.
Yeah.
Okay, so just could you give me a name of your first actual client? If you remember.
Nordic Business Forum and Vincit. And Nordic Business Forum was this well-known business event in the Nordics, and then Vincit was a software company. Now it's a listed company now, and their CEO is now 1 month ago we got the confirmation he will be our investor also now.
Okay, so the first that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and then Solita also was one of our first, and their cultural director Jonne, he became our angel investor also later on.
Okay, so you're like saying, that venture capital is actually Well, your life is kind of showing us a picture that the venture capital idea of failing fast, and like giving up immediately is definitely not the way to go. And
For me, it was. Not. But I don't think venture capital is a bad thing. But I don't have experience on that, and I quite sure that we wouldn't have being able to make it so long if we had venture capital. But I could be wrong, because you need to have the outcomes and you need to have the metrics, and we never had the metrics.
you never had the metrics.
Yeah, never had in a good problem. It's like self-deception all the way, which is kind of.
So you kept going by the power of just sheer will, or how did it look?
Yeah, always you see something works better and have the kind of the next how to make it better. But now when I see it backwards, it's really high risk. Now that I see it backwards.
It seems extremely risky, because you may be so deep into this thing and then only realize, oh my God, I have packed myself into the mess. I have people depending on me, and you need to continue going. Yeah. So, because probably there was a moment, during your story when you felt this way, or was it always like sunshine and roses, or was there like a moment where you felt actually a little bit down with this?
Yeah, of course, it's always, but it's kind of like that's the self-deception part that I many times ask myself: do I still believe in the vision, and do I see like this, and then go forward? But in the end, it gets you like. Of course, I had also a quite serious burnout at some point. So, but you cannot have it before you are in the phase.
But. So when did you overcome this problem of burnout, and when did you realize, okay, now I'm going to be okay, it's going to continue growing, I'm going to have another angel investors, they are going to come back? What was that turning point?
It's always the both. It's kind of you always see kind of how can we improve the next, and then just at the same time it's everything could fail, but it's not. I don't think there's room for that everything could fail. And that's why it's high risky, and I wouldn't recommend it, because the risks are real and you can get kind of in a really bad situation. So that's why I think I've been lucky.
I mean, luck, but like also paired with hard work and 10 years of building, close relationships with CEOs and other people responsible for choosing that.
Yes.
Please tell me, but when did you feel you were actually going to be okay with Topaasia? When did you feel you can actually continue going forward? Because probably the first year or the first 2 years were just a wishy-washy moment, which you don't really remember that much. But when you felt, I can continue doing that for the rest of my life, probably. Unless you...
But I think I always kind of had that kind of thinking also. But
you are always certain that you are going to succeed.
Yeah, eventually. But now it's more realistic, because we started with these team problems, and now we kind of, you have the nice to have and must haves, and we have been in the nice to have. The biggest thing is to go to the must haves to have the business. So now we can solve the problems of strategy, implementation, organizational development, and we are piloting with the M&A. So those are kind of must-have problems, but it took the 10 years to kind of climb with the ladder to get that we can actually position it to that.
So like 10 years to feel that you are safe in this current position on the market, or maybe...
Maybe safe. But but I think...
That's really conservative. Venture capital would say we are done 5 times already.
That's I could imagine. And our chair of board, Janne, whom I highly respect, he has also we have talked that if we would at some point have venture capital, it would be the countdown for me. It would start for the countdown for me as the CEO, because I don't think I don't have maybe that kind of skill set that would be needed.
So, because this is also interesting, so you think actually the venture capitals pushes out, like the hardworking CEOs out of this place?
I don't know. I don't think, but maybe it's something. I don't think, and I don't know. I cannot comment to that, but
because you're working so close, to the product. This is the product that you probably live with and you love, and just making quick calls to actually increase the valuation of the company, which is going to hurt it long time. How do you feel about that? Could you even consider doing that?
Could you please repeat the question?
Could you actually, because you work for what you believe and what you love, yes?
Yeah.
And obviously sometimes we are like given this choice when we have like the investors that force us the fast growth, right? You know, to just capitalize faster, to maybe introduce some monetary practices that are not so pro-client, you know, maybe introducing ads into the panel of the digital board game of your stuff. How would you feel about that? Could you give away this power, you know, to actually do good and...
No, I don't think maybe I'm too. But our co-founder Ville, me and Ville co-founded. Ville has the good skill set on. You have these kind of mountains. Someone is the one who climbs the next mountains, and someone is the one who start capitalizing the one you already had. So we have this kind of combination, and we have for many first 4 years we were just two of us, and we had this kind of
relationship.
And it also triggers a lot of conflicts. But I've noticed from myself, that I love the creativity. I love to do the kind of the next mountain, and get anxious if I need to start capitalizing the one that at the moment. So it would be difficult for me to be stuck, and would have been and has been, because you are in conflicts like you. It's difficult in the beginning.
No, because the topic, you know, of actually doing something for the money and doing something that's positive for the society right now, well, that's a really explosive quote-unquote thing to say. Because, for example, I don't know if you're sitting a little bit in the AI space, you know, because you can choose to do good. And like with Anthropic, for example, and their decision, you know, to not support the war in Iran, do you want to reserve this power for yourself, you know, to say, we are never going to do a certain thing. We are always going to be like a positive force. And is that what's important for you in life, actually?
At the moment, I think, thinking about now, I ended up also actually turning the love to my kids. I think that's a difficult question, and it brings many ethical questions, because we also need to have a business, and we need to have money to pay the people, and also our angel owners hoped at some point to get something. So it's difficult for me to put the lines, but I take those questions seriously. But for example, like how should we ethically kind of think of this kind of use in this situation?
Yes,
I take it in a serious manner, but I don't have answers.
It would be hard to have answers, you know, to the questions that trouble everyone pretty much. You know, where is the line? What do we do? You know, when it actually turns from something we love to something we do just for the money.
Yeah.
But about the money, actually. So I have this question right now. So it's Monday. It's the very beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And you started Topaasia with under like 1,000 euros of capital in the very beginning, a piece of pen and a paper.
Yeah.
What would you recommend other students, you know, to do right now?
Use all have an idea from what perspective?
From the business perspective, what they should do during this week if they have maybe something going on in their heads. What would you?
If they have an idea, just to test it with the potential client, not to keep it. Ideas should be spread; they don't be stolen. I think they start to grow in the conversations with clients, not with sponsors, or I think it should be the possible end client, just to kind of get feedback.
So start talking, actually. Start the conversation going and see how it goes, and whether it's going to actually return something. Yes?
Yeah.
So you think that the clients are the most important part of every business. You're kind of client-centric, actually.
Yeah.
So the client dictates, you know, how the product evolves, and this is how you should do it.
Yeah, maybe not dictate, because if you start, the client dictates, then you kind of lose your own idea. But the clients should be in the core to understand.
So it's like the metric that you should actually follow, their feedback, you know, and looking forward and having that.
Yeah, the qualitative, when you don't have the quantitative, then the qualitative. Because it can take a lot of time to have the quantitative.
Very well. So first you have the actual talking, you know.
Yeah, that's my. But of course, it depends on the skill set of the person. And are you more product-led growth or sales-led growth? Also, I think.
I understand. And you are more product, or are you more sales?
I think we should be sales-led growth, because we try to sell the strategy implementation and this kind of as top as possible. So those are human relations, and it's difficult to get there. And if we would be product-led growth, we would probably need a huge amount of capital and different kind of team structure and different kind of marketing strategy. All of this, it's a different game, so to say.
So you prioritize, these close relationships and basically providing something to the clients, and through this mutual growth, you continue expanding.
Yeah, but of course, I'm thinking about when we get to the some phase that we could have the product-led growth approach also as a way to get leads to these organizations. But it's I think I got one feedback from our client that in the early stages they were trying to turn from sales-led growth to product-led growth, and they, those are two different animals in a sense.
So, from what I understand, if you want to do something during this week with under 1,000 euros, a piece of pen and a paper, just show your idea to the potential client, ask him immediately without even preparing the MVP or just go for it and try to iterate as fast as possible.
Yeah, because then you don't waste your time in doing kind of plans that anyways would fail. But this can be a bad advice because that's just one approach. Maybe not the advice, but one approach.
But it's your advice.
Yeah, my approach.
Your advice, your approach to life, actually.
Because then you don't have, you cannot be sure. If you are doing something new, I think that's also, if you're doing something new that you know is probably something new, then that's because you cannot plan it.
Okay.
So throw yourself into the deep water and see whether you sink or swim.
Yeah.
That's what they taught you at Team Academia in Scala.
Yeah.
And you are living your life, with this advice in mind. Pretty much.
Yeah. In some levels, yes. But now with the kids and everything, it's a high risk way also.
So it changes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, then you, Jussi. I think it was amazing, talking about Topaasia. Would you like to give us some handles, to your social media, maybe to your website right now?
LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot.
So we can find you on LinkedIn in case, and probably your phone number is available on the website.
But it's here because I don't ever answer the phone, so I really needed to make one of our investors. I called him. At least one angel investor. I called him 100 times at least, and then cut him. Because they don't even. It's not easy to get someone to do.
Is it easy to get to you then?
I don't answer phone.
Okay.
But LinkedIn is kind of
very well. So yes, let's call you. But maybe we need to work ourselves, through the. But I'm certain they will redirect us.
Yeah, but thank you. I hope I was able to say something that made sense. But this is just my approach, and I don't think it's not the best, but one approach.
This is what about this entire masterclass that's going to take place right now is, so it's building without the venture capital.
Yeah.
And I think, this approach is something that we always need to consider. Yeah. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can reach out on the LinkedIn. And Topaasia again, Jussi Galla. Hopefully next time we are going to say hello also to Ville. And till the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.